Okay, all right. It looks like we are live. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Win Roundtable Talk. We are here. We have Miss Ernice, Miss Ariana, the great. She's here, Coach Ari. And I want to make sure that we celebrate our first timer, Miss Ernice, who is our corporate partner for the Win community. She has been driving and fueling our mission so heavily that we're super proud to have her. And we have a couple of our members that are going to be joining, our leaders. We have Miss Linus coming onto the stage. So, welcome, Miss Linus. Thank you for being here. And hopefully, Sarah can join us as well. But we're going to get started with this roundtable because last time, I don't know if you all saw the last version of our roundtable, but we dived a little deep into what it meant to just build community, be involved with community, not be so stressed about, am I making money because I'm here? And, because there's so much more impact that goes with that. And so I want to hear, because in the new year, things have changed, right? We've all grown, we've all learned some new things. And so I do want to start with that. Let's get some introductions going. Let's let people know who we are. I'm Allegra Jackson, the marketing medulla, what they call me in the business. And I'm also the founder of W.I.N. And this community has been a blessing to me because I absolutely love being around other women who are just growing and blossoming in what they do in life and business. So that's my jam. And so the W.I.N community has, really been true to my heart. And I really, like to empower other women, mainly because, in business, you have to grow and prosper. And we really don't get the right support and funding. And so I support you in business planning and fundamentals, as well as making sure you have marketing strategies and access to funding. There's so many resources out there. And so I just make sure you have that plethora of resources for your growth as a coach. And I want to also make sure that you are invited into the W.I.N community. So make sure you join us. We have all kind of meetups happening. We have events going on behind the scenes. We have programs galore now. We have like 4 different programs that we initiated for 2024. So definitely join us. And I want to, kind of let everyone introduce themselves first around the round table. And then we're going to start with our first question, which is, how have you been winning so far in 2024? I do want to hear this from each and every one of you. So let's start with our corporate partner, Miss Ernice. You look like you relocated a little bit. You got out your seat.
Oh my God. I'm down here at this 8-day conference for small business. And I found me a nice nook and this woman comes and she's just like loud. So I had to relocate myself so I can hear because for some reason I'm having a problem hearing, but I'll get through it. So can you I'm Ernice Cummings and I am a corporate partner with Women into Networking. I am also a government expert and I do training on how to do business with the federal government. I also have a nonprofit, which is called Secret Miracles Inc. And I am also a small business administration score mentor. So if you can repeat that question for me, Miss Allegra.
Absolutely. The question was, how have you been winning in 2024?
What are my wins in 2024?
Yes. So far.
Okay, so my wins in 2024 is that my nonprofit has taken off. It's like exploding, which I'm so happy. My client base for how to do business with the federal government has increased. My mentees have increased. So we are in February, and I could truly say that I've doubled my clients within the last 30 days. I've started doing the online uh, seminars, and that has really, really, really taken off. So, just to explain where I'm at today, it's the Department of Defense 8A conference, and what it's about is we have 8A is a program under the Small Business Administration, and we have over probably 1,200 people here today that are networking with the federal government, trying to see how they can sell their wares, business, and services to the different Department of Defense agencies. So I'm very excited to be here today. I'll take a few pictures, post them on the website. So my 2024 is taking off, and I'm looking forward to the journey. Over.
I love it. It's so funny hearing you over. So you sit down. audio at least as well. And Denise, thank you for sharing your wins. Those are like all experience, and that's why I just want to pull that up. We get deep conversation. Because definitely going to talk about some other highlights in the community, what it means when it amplifies that growth and success in life. So thank you for that. We're going around the table. Who is next? Ari.
Me next? Did I hear my name right? Yes.
Next, pass the mic.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody, and everybody tuning in. I love our community. I'm the co-founder of the W.I.N community, Ariana Hussein, and I'm a clarity business coach. I really help you to clarify your mission and your message so that you can push forward with whatever God has called you to do in your business and reach the people who need what you have. I absolutely love the W.I.N community. It started out just as a thought and has blossomed into this amazing, beautiful, supportive, strong, thriving community. So if you're not a part of this community, make sure you get a part of the community because it's amazing. Um, and then the question, how have I been winning this year? Oh my goodness. Really learning how to be the best support to my clients and to the people around me has been a real focus of mine. I think the best way that we are I don't want to I say useful, but when you serve, when you're allowing yourself to be of service, is the best thing. And so really honing in and leaning into being of service has been a real focus for me. And I've been really, really enjoying it. So servicing my clients, servicing the people who, God has put around me and called me to service is a winning, really getting to know the people in my space in my Houston area. So making a lot of new connections to bring people into our women's networking community, so that they're able to experience just the power of collaboration. And I think that is one of the core foundations of who we are as a community. And so I've been out meeting a whole lot more of local people, which is not my normal. So I feel like that is a win. So I'm excited for the next Houston event because I actually think it's going to be bigger than all of the ones that I've hosted since starting with the leg with the community. So that is a big win for me because y'all, I'm not her that goes out networking, but I've learned it and I've embraced it, and I've met a lot of new people. So you guys stay tuned for the Houston event for this year. It's gonna be really, really good. And then those are my wins. So who you want me to pass it to, Linus?
Yeah, pass it to Linus. Pass it around. Linus, introduce yourself. You have the mic, and then let us know what your wins have been so far this
Okay. Hey, everybody. My name is Lennis, and I'm a holistic living and wellness expert for women over 40. And if you're someone who's dealt with a lot of anxiety and stress, gut health issues, have difficulty losing weight, and just feeling unwell, then I'm the person you should talk to. I've been working with women's wellness for women over 40 for over 17 years. And in that time, I've helped women to vibe, to be more vibrant, more intuitive, more beautiful, and empowered along their midlife journey. I teach women about their nutrition, their movement regime, holistic practices, their spiritual renewal, and the importance of just taking better care of themselves. And my wins for 2024, I'm about a week away from launching my new network that I'm very excited about. I have a great new intern. I also have gone up a couple of notches at Apple Podcasts, and I'm close to the top 5%. I'm like 8%. So I'm pushing my way through. My podcast is doing really well. And my community is growing on Facebook. I'm at 22,700 women. And my Instagram is growing. I'm up to over 21,000 on Instagram. So far, things are going really, really well. What I'm really looking for is to convert my over 100,000 following to this new network. It's going to be very affordable and full of information, curated content about different ways to be well in your mind, body, and spirit. This is all kinds of information for women, and I'll be talking more about it as we get closer to the launch date. It's going to be launched on February 14th because I love what I'm doing, and I want to have the spirit of love attached to my new network. So can't wait to share it with all of you once it's ready. Still working on it. Oh, hey, Camille. What's going on, girl? You're the boss.
I love that. I love that. Shout out to Camille. She's always a heavy hitter in this community. And then Sarah, our programs manager over here, just killing it. What are you doing, Sarah? Are you driving? You got something on your head? You just got a lot going on, Queen. What we have going on at the round table? She just pulled in with her car and sat down. Good morning. No, I'm just like,
Good morning, Allegra. Morning, everybody. Nice to see you guys. So yeah, like Allegra said, I am the programs manager. I'm heading up the Winterns and the mentor program. So if anybody is interested in being a mentor, just reach out to me. I'd love to, you know, have you fill out the forms, see if we can get you connected with an intern. And I'm also the New Jersey leader, and we are officially sold out for our first meetup of this year. And for me, I am a social media strategist. I've been in business for 7 years. I'm the CEO of Sarah Social Strategies, and I focus on organic social media marketing to help spark engagement, increase visibility, um, increase your insights and your credibility to spark engagement, the whole 9 yards. So if you need help with any of that, reach out to me. We do strategy sessions and content marketing, different things like that. So for me, I guess my wins would be getting my ebook done. Sandra, one of our VIP members, kind of gave me that push to get it done before the end of last year. So shout out to her. She is the bomb with the digital products. Um, Another one that I want to celebrate this year is I plan on doing my mini course this year to get that out for everybody. So that's in the works. I have to get everything outlined. Like, it's all outlined in my head. Now it just has to get out there. So I would say that that's a win. And, just growing in the win community, like really getting heavily involved with networking, because I've tried different ones in the past. It didn't quite mesh, but, getting out there in my local community to finding the right networking groups to network in is really a big win for me this last year and a half, I'd say. So those would be my wins. Allegra, I'll pass the mic back to you.
these are super big. I didn't even talk about my wins. There's too many. Like, there's way too many. Y'all don't realize it. And shout out to Sarah, because Sarah's been a big help in just coming on board as staff and really making sure that I'm held accountable, because, sometimes, we don't think about how we need to get the help and support we need. And I want to kind of go in that direction when it comes to asking for help. Because one thing I've noticed is that a lot of times, especially as women entrepreneurs, women in careers and things like that, I've heard this, and y'all can tell me if you find this intriguing or not. But I've heard that, we have a hard time asking for help. And I myself have had this issue, okay? Because I can't talk about anyone else but myself. So, there have been very hard times. And I think it's because of the examples I've seen and the experiences I've had in life that kind of like stump you and say, hey, you shouldn't ask for help, or that's not your place. And I want to acknowledge the freedom in community, the freedom in business, which is an asset, right? Which most of us have, and the freedom in choosing, right? Because one thing that, and I've been talking with my mother too, is like, we have the choice to really decide on asking for help and getting the right support we need. But we have to know what that looks like, right? And I think in my position where community has been involved, it has increased my level of asking for help, because it gives me familiarity around people that I've seen. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I should reach out to that person. And one thing that I've seen that we've done in this community, and I'm going to pass this around after I say this, because I want to hear from all of y'all, is that I've been a promoter of like positioning people to be like, you need to ask them for help, right? I don't know if y'all have heard me on Clubhouse or if you heard me on lives, but I'm like, you need to talk to this person. And then I sit back and watch and see, right? Because we say what we need, but how often are we asking for it? Like, are we asking for it every day? Are we asking for it once an hour? Like, how bad do we want it? And I think community has been one of the pivotal things for me to give me that freedom and understanding that there is space to ask for help, that I'm okay when I do ask for help. There's no embarrassment or shame around it, and that there's a community of people that are already there to support that asking. So I want to hear from y'all and see what you think about that. Miss Ernest, I want to start with you. What do you think about that topic?
About seeking help.
And I mean, seeking help and looking at how community either supports that, or maybe it hasn't made a difference. You know, some people have been in communities, like Sarah says, that where they have not felt like they are in alignment, right? And so you don't ask for help because you're not in alignment. But I found that, you know, being in the right spaces, and we're just speaking on our different viewpoints, but being in spaces where you are with the right people in the right communities, I find that it has been a lot easier to ask for help. But in general, the concept is that we don't ask for help.
Yeah. So I can definitely speak on that because I am a mentor and I mentor different groups, different ages, different nationalities. So I think that an individual has to first recognize they need help. I think that's the first thing. You have to know you need help. Second, you cannot be proud, okay, not to ask for help. And then you have to be courageous as far as what I think. So I can only speak definite about my own career. When I first started in the government, which has been 40 something years ago, I was young, you know, but I always had the courage. If I didn't know something, I would ask because my grandfather raised me. And he literally would say, you know, if you don't know something, just ask. You know, you're sitting there tossing and turning, trying to figure out something. There's somebody sitting right there in your path that you can reach out and just ask. So, one of my strong points is that I love helping people. And those of you that know me know that is one of my top strengths. And I find when I help others, God help me. So I think it's very important that we encourage other individuals to help one another. Those that are professional in your career, you know, seek out others that you may help because that individual might not be brave enough to come and say, hey, I need help. But we all are mature adults and we can see when someone is struggling. So if you reach out to that individual and they don't accept your help, well, you've done your job. Over.
You know, I'm so curious about this before I release it because Ariana, I know she's probably going to say a whole lot of things about this one. Don't shake your head, ma'am, because we know, you know, that we've had these discussions. And I'm curious, Miss Ernest, because you said something pivotal. I think it's really important to have the right attitude about what that looks like because you say your grandfather taught you a lot about that. And depending on our background and, you know, where we come from and things like that, our experiences are different. But do you find that you know, people are yourself. Like when you have that heart, and I've found that this is difficult for me, y'all. Like I've had the heart of giving, I've had the heart of service. I don't mind giving, 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 and helping, helping, helping. But the return, right? It's like I need the help because I'm gonna be honest with you. When I came to a point in my life where I was really down and I needed the help and I didn't have a choice but to have to ask, that's when I like my biggest fear came up. It was like, oh, the people that I knew that weren't going to be around aren't around. Right. And so that's a lot of reason why I didn't ask for help because I was afraid that the people that I needed to be there for me really weren't going to be there. And that was the truth. And that's what came true. But for a lot of us, we have different experiences. But do you find that there is an equal balance for you all the time because of that teaching that you
No, no, not for me. Um, my helping somebody else does not come with any reservations because I literally live my life by faith and belief and know that God has for me what he has for me. So I always move forward knowing that if I help someone, it's not looking for something from them back to me. You know, maybe they can help somebody else. I say play it forward. So I understand what you're saying, Allegra. You know, sometimes we do look within our circle, like you know us that's on this networking event today. Each and every one of us are professionals, but it doesn't mean that we're gonna help each other. I think we promote each other, we encourage each other. but it might not be for us to help each other on this streaming. It might be for us to help somebody else. So to sum it up, I never look back at the person I help to help me unless that's something that God has put in them to help. Because if you think about it, it's a big wide world out there. The things that we need, there are people that are available and they will come into our life at the appropriate time and the appropriate place. So I'm not saying I live in this supernatural spiritual world, but I do, because I do believe that's what's for you is for you. And I'll be 67 come March 23rd. So I've lived it, okay? And I know that formula works. You give and you move on. And that is all you can do. And if you don't get anything in return, I mean, take family members. You get family members all the time, here, there, whatever. They don't come back and say, you know what, thank you. I'm so glad you did that. They come back for more and more and more. So that's just an example for me. I got a lot of family members they'll rob you blind if you let them. But at the end of the day, there's no return coming back from most of them because they don't understand the power of giving and receiving. So over.
I really love that. I want to hear from Ari because Ari's back there. Next, over to you, Ariana. What do you think about this? How hard is it to ask for help?
Well, I definitely agree with Miss Ernest for sure. That's what the Bible teaches us, is that you should give not expecting anything back in return, because it shows the genuineness of your giving. It means that you have a giving heart. And then understanding every seed you plant, you don't reap from. When we're going out giving or helping, you're planting a seed. You may not reap the harvest of that seed, but somewhere there was a seed planted for you that you're going to reap the harvest from. So you learn to not expect it back how you give it, but just know that you're going to get it back. However God decides is fine. Because I think all of us are just, as long as we just get it back, it don't have to come back from the same person. As long as we get it back, and that's God's job. So I love, Miss Ernest, what you said. I'm over here like, oh yes, I love it. Because I agree totally. And I think for me, the asking of the help, I have no problem asking for help from family. It was more so asking for help from people that are not family. Um, Even friends. I think that's just how I was raised. Like, we depended on our family, it's our family. So when I got into the community and Allegra like could choke me, she wanted to connect with me, and I was like, why? Like, for what? What are we connecting for? Like, what do you? And she's like, I just want to help you. I'm like, and to the point of the conversation, I didn't even know what I needed help with. But like, and we tell everybody this, like, that's my big bestie. What I needed, what I didn't know I needed, she had. And so I had to learn to open up myself, to trust other people, not because I was just so jaded, but because of how I was raised. That this is a family. We hear this, and it's us. And so I had to learn how to ask for help. And I think in some instances, I still am learning. I'm a mom. I'm a business owner. I'm a wife. I'm a minister. So a lot of people count on me. So I don't sometimes take the time to even look and see, like, where do you need help? I have the syndrome of, well, I can just do it all. I might not be able to do it all right now, but I'll just figure it out along the way. And so I think, if coming from that perspective, as like the mom, the wife, all these things, all of these hats, I think unconsciously you become the woman who, I just figure it out. And it's not that I don't need help or I don't desire help, but I'm not used to asking for it. I'm also not used to looking for where I need the help at, right? That takes time to sit down and look at your life, look at your business, look at what you have, and say, where could I use some help so that it doesn't feel like a load? But like I said, from my end of the spectrum, I'm just used to doing it all. So it's not something that I necessarily sit down and look at all the time until it becomes overwhelming. And then I'm like, all right, somebody got to take it because I'm going to drop all of it. And y'all can go pick it up and find it. I don't know who's going to carry it, and it's not a healthy thing. But if we're talking about, being honest, and we're talking about the question of why it's so hard to ask for help, in my opinion, a lot of it had to do with how I was raised. We didn't count on outside people. We were that tribe. So meeting, even a lot of you guys, being in this community, Allegra like literally had to pull me out of my box, because I just didn't understand the concept of like depending on other people or doing that. So that would be one end. And then to all my moms, my wives, my everything, my 17 hat wearers, I'm here for y'all to support y'all because we don't do it consciously. It's unconscious, especially if you just are a strong woman who you just do it all. I just do it all. And here's the thing, I love it. I love being busy. So it's even a little bit more hard, I think harder, difficult because I like doing a lot of things. So that's my take on it. For what it's worth.
No, I'm feeling the different perspectives because we all have, we all do have different perspectives. Like when I met Ariana, there was I had to have an eye opening transition of what it looked like to network then, because networking that's what we do. Like that's part of how we connect and just really link up with people who know someone else and know someone else. And I've been able to meet some fabulous people through Ariana. But I remember seeing her on a stage and just being by herself. And I was like, where is her whole team? And sometimes you see things in people where you're just like, wait a minute, that don't add up. And, I'm not pushing myself on anyone, but Ariana was at least open, to welcoming, right? That friendship, welcoming that avenue of me coming in the door. So I appreciate that, first of all. And then second of all, without her, honestly, I wouldn't have had this amazing community, because we really did start with, remember that day where I was like, God gave me the idea. And I just want to make sure you know that in about a couple of years, and I just want to be a witness to it. And so now we're a couple years later and she can say like, yeah, I was witness to that. But that was not a happenstance, right? It started with that connection that one day. And I think that's powerful because we get fear around, like the others. Who don't other people? But I think it's powerful when we do get to open our doors for that. Thank you, Ariana. I want to pass the mic. Go ahead, Linus, you're next around the table. What does this mean to you? Have you had problems asking for help? What do you think about this conversation? Are you muted, Linus?
Yeah. Okay. There we go. First of all, I wanted to say, hey, sister, to, I think she said she's turning 67 in March. I'm turning 67 in June. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. So nice to be with someone who is in my age bracket. It doesn't happen very often anymore, even though I work with women over 40. My ideal, not my ideal, but my average client is between the ages of 45 and 55. So I'm way too old for my demographic. I always lead with service. That's what's kept me in for these last 17 years in business, is because I really do lead with service. I have helped so many women, and in return, when I've needed help, it's come. And for me, it's not so much having problems asking for help. Sometimes it's just finding the right person that I know can help me. It's not that I know everything, but I know what I'm looking for. And so asking for help for the sake of getting help when you know that person doesn't have exactly what you're looking for, doesn't work for me. So I just wait for, the Holy Spirit to lead me to the right person. And I will ask. I'm at a point right now on my membership program where I'm looking now for someone to help me with the launch piece and someone to help me with the fine tuning of the platform, because I know I need those extra pair of hands, and I've got clients I got to service. I can't do it all, right? So I'm aware of that. It's just finding the right match. And sometimes it's not just the skill set. Sometimes it is, the personality type and all that kind of stuff, because I'm very collaborative. So I like to be able to have fun with the person that I work with, and, that kind of stuff. But when you're asking for help, you have to be hat in hand. I mean, you can't be too tough. Well, you got to be this, got to be that. So I don't mean that. But usually what happens with me when I ask for help, the Holy Spirit leads me to the right person. I did have a situation that happened to me not too long ago that I want to share with you real quickly when it came to asking for help. Someone from LinkedIn approached me, and she said she'd been following me for a while, watching me for a while, and that she felt like she could really help me get myself to the next level, which is, I do need help with that. I've been looking for the right person for over a year to get me to where I feel like I need to be in the next level. And so I said, okay. And she was saying all the right things. Okay. All the right things. And I was very excited. In fact, I got really vulnerable and I shared some things with her that weren't confidential necessarily, but I just don't share with everybody because usually the conversation doesn't get that far. And so I said, okay, so bottom line, what are the costs of your services? And she said, oh, no cost. The clients who are interested in having you speak about, they pay for it on the back and I take a percentage of that. And I thought, okay, I've heard of that arrangement before, not a problem. So we're getting towards the end of the conversation. And I'm saying, well, please, go ahead and send me your scope of work, your contract and all that. And she said, great. And what's your Zelle? And I said, my Zelle, why do you need my Zelle? She said, well, it's $2,500 down. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. And when I was talking with her, there were a couple of red flags, but I ignored them because she was saying all the right things. And I realized she was saying all the right things because she was playing me because I got vulnerable. And I'm telling you this because at first I was like, okay, that's it. I'm never having another conversation like that again. I'm never going to share those things. But no. Sharing those things is how you get to the bottom line of who this person really is. And I invested maybe 30 minutes in this conversation, but it was worth it because she would have let me down that primrose path. And there would, if I had just paid her $2,500, there'd be something else. The other thing is that, when she called me back to follow up, I told her the truth as to why I wasn't going to work with her because I can't trust her. And so she'd say, well, I am working with a third party and I wasn't sure what her charge was. And I was texting her as you were talking. I said, well, you didn't disclose that either. I thought I was just talking about you. Not that I have a problem with a third party contractor. We all do that. But that's something you would mention right up front, And what's wrong with saying what your services cost? Especially when you're asked that directly. And she just backpedal all through, And I thought to myself, oh, thank you, Jesus. So when it comes for asking for help, just remember that you got to be, aware. Everybody, I believe that God brings people into our life for a reason, for a season. And that was just to remind me, Lennis, not to be so forthcoming, but when you see those red flags, adhere to them. Because there were several things that she said was like, why is she telling me that? That's not professional. But I like so much of all the other things that she was saying that I just kind of ignored those. But, so I just wanted to share that. Asking for help is wonderful, but just because people are giving something to you for free, or even if you're paying for it, doesn't mean that you still don't want to, have your ears and eyes open to see, okay, is this really a match for me? And epilogue, this person has contacted me several times and I've politely turned her down. But finally I had to pick up the phone and call her and say, listen, let me make it very clear. And I have never said this to anybody in 17 years of working together. I don't want to work with you. Not in the future, not ever, because I cannot trust you. And she said, oh, well, I was hoping we could clear the air. I said, I've cleared the air. This is how I feel. And I have never had that kind of conversation. But see, something about over 60, you kind of freeing. It's like, what? This is how I feel. This is my truth. And I'm just going to speak it. Whereas in my 40s and 50s, I'd be trying to be diplomatic. But later for that. I would tell you her name, but I'm too professional for that. But just watch out on LinkedIn. Okay, that's all I can say.
I crack it up. Okay, so real quick, I'm honored that we do have, powerful women like Miss Ernest and you, Lennis, to just kind of show us, some of the experiences that you've had and the wisdom and discernment that you use, because I'm in my 40s, listen, and I'm trying to learn through y'all. I don't want to learn through the experiences, but I just, I want to honor that. So you never, throughout all of your time, you never let anybody go?
Not like that. I never burned bridges because you never know. I haven't burned bridges. There's been some people have burned bridges with me, but I've never been so finite like that. But I could tell she was a personality type. I don't want to work with you. And I think also she might be a narcissist because I told her that in many ways and she just wasn't hearing it because that's not what she wanted to do. She decided that she's going to work with me and she's going to do this, she's going to do that. I mean, she was trying to pitch me over the phone after all this happened, a $55,000 program. And I said, I would never pay $55,000 for anything unless I'm getting a degree. She said, oh, no, it's a group program. I said, no, I wouldn't pay $55,000 for a group program. I wanted to say, what's that song about green eggs and ham? I wanted to just go to it. No, I will not eat it out of the box. And that's not, go down the list. I
All
mean, wow, she just wasn't getting it. But no, I have not. I've been so blessed. That's not to say that I haven't had some unfortunate situations, but I've been able to keep the communication lines open because sometimes things happen, and it's not because people are intending to do you wrong. It just didn't work out. This woman, I don't know if she was intending on doing me wrong enough, but I wasn't interested in sticking around long enough to find out. I mean, yeah.
okay. Listen, Liz, I was trying to interrupt you. I don't know if you can
Oh,
hear. So because I want to just in a moment, because there are people that may be experiencing that, and that's a real thing. Have y'all had that happen to you? Because I've had that in my DMs where people do. I mean, we live in this shady world, right? Where digital things are very digital. So you are going to get a lot of like scammy things and people that seem believable and all those things. And so I just want to honor that because I think, you do have to be very selective. And if you're going to ask for help, which is really the topic of what we started off here, is making sure, and I love how you said it, using, your Holy Spirit guidance to make sure you are like, hey, I know exactly what it is that I need to do rather than to yourself. And sometimes I think, we don't know how that looks for us. And so we got to really identify how we need to ask for help. That's a good point to bring up.
So I would like to jump in there, within this. There are so many coaches out there, so they say, but it's about them getting your money. And just last week, there was an incident where AI, an individual used AI, because see, now that is an area that's new, but it's not new. Scams come in all different forms. But this individual actually Googled somebody, and you could take people pictures and put them where you want them. And Allegra will tell you, when I first met her, and still now, I will tell her, I'm not interested in that. I'm not doing that because the more vulnerable you make yourself available to the public, especially with AI, the more you have to be aware of the scams, of people who don't mean no good, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm glad you shared that story because I think all of us as business women need to be aware that just as hard as you're working to build your business, there's an individual out there working just as hard or harder to take your money and to mimic what you're doing. I say copyright everything. I just told a young lady the other day that's working on a project for me. I am, and this is for you guys. I am watermarking every piece of paper that I publish. Think about that. Because with AI, they can take your information, and Sarah probably can speak to this. They can take your information, put it where they want it, change it around, and be like it's theirs, you see, and trademarking and all that, you can do all of that, but it only lasts so long, and you have to pay them hundreds and hundreds of dollars for to get all the different trade codes and whatever. It's ridiculous. So I say, let's be smart, ladies. Watermark your product. Copyright your own stuff by signing it when you create it. Put it in a safe. You understand what I'm saying? One good way is to mail that document to yourself. Don't open it, it's gonna have the stamp on it. That way, if anybody come and try to, take your information, you have proof. So I agree. Let's be aware and let's be smart. Okay, when we ask for help, check those people out. There's something called white pages. I never knew that. But a friend of mine was looking up somebody she was dating and went on white pages, found out he was married. And I'm like, what's white pages? Hey, I'm 60 something years old. But you can go up there and put it's white pages. And guess what? They got an A in Better Business Bureau. I was like, what is going on? But you can put anybody's name in there, and guess what? It'll bring up who they're with, all this stuff. So I just want to jump in there and say that, because I think it is important for you guys to know that. Over.
real quick, I want to say something real quick. When I first got started in this business, and whenever it was 2018, was it 2009, 2009 or whatever. There weren't that many coaches online, but they were just beginning to. And several people would tell me, so and so seems like she's copying you. She's got the same colors and she's doing this. And I thought, because I was just getting started and I wasn't about to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on trademarks and things like that because I was still trying to figure out what I was doing. But this is one thing that I know, and it keeps me from getting paranoid because it is true. They can copy whatever the hell they want to. They're not me. They're not delivering it the way that I deliver it. Okay. They haven't had the life experience in the same way that I have that has brought me to this point. And the information that I have may not be exclusively mine, but the way I deliver it is. So that keeps me from being too paranoid. You're wise to watermark and do all that. That's absolutely right. But also don't keep it from don't get paranoid to the point where you're afraid to put something out because someone's going to copy it. No one can copy you but the Lord, your God. Okay. He created you, but that's it. The rest of these folks, they may copy. And the other thing is that most imitators, they don't last. And one thing about AI is that if you really don't know your crap and you're putting that stuff out, you're going to be found out anyway. For instance, if you're copying somebody's stuff and their philosophy is purple witches is the way to go, and then somebody finally meets you and you're talking about orange witches, they're like, but wait a minute, you won't. Well, I've changed. I've pivoted. So just know that you are who you are. God gave you your message to deliver in your way, and no one can copy that. So don't let them get in your head in that way. I definitely agree with what you said, but I just want to add that piece because I don't want people to get paranoid because you can get really paranoid these days and then end up doing nothing. So just want to say that.
If y'all was sitting at this table right now and could feel this heat. Thank you, Miss Ernest. Thank you, Linus. I appreciate it. I want to keep it moving because Sarah and Eserinthia is in the house. At the table. She done sat down. Sarah, you were next around the table. Go ahead and introduce yourself. And yeah, we're already in it. Let's go.
Well, when it comes to asking for help, I would say I've been very lucky, more like Ari said, with my immediate family always being there where we have each other's back. If, they need something, I'm there, vice versa. And it's just always been that way. So I was lucky in that avenue, at least for my immediate, not extended. That's a different story. But my immediate family, yes. And I got lucky with my boyfriend now, so I feel very blessed and grateful for that. When it came to professional, I probably just started learning it's okay to ask for help these last few years because when I first started in business, I thought if I asked for help, that was showing that I wasn't an expert. It was showing a sign of weakness, that I had to handle it all myself. And it took me time to see that when you ask for help, you're collaborating, you're getting what you need, you can learn to, delegate. You don't have to go crazy micromanaging everything, and things will still get done. But it did take me a while to learn that, I have to say, because I couldn't find the right people to feel comfortable asking for help. Um, I do ask for help now in the W.I.N community if I need hands. Like I definitely wanted an ambassador. I knew I needed help with that. I needed help with my business, so I ended up hiring my intern, like an assistant. So, it took a while to find the right people to feel comfortable with, to be able to ask for help professionally, you know? So I would say you need to focus on that. You need to make sure you're comfortable with everyone that you are asking help for. And if you're not, then it's time to move on and try to find it elsewhere because we all do eventually need help. And if we don't have the right people around us, it's going to make it twice as hard on ourselves, whether it's personally or professionally. So that's been my experience the last few years.
I love your take, Sarah. I want to go over to Ariana before we end with Eserinthia because Ari does have to dip out first. I want her to say her goodbyes before she leaves the table. But I do want to comment on what you said, Sarah, because there's just so many, different layers to that. But at the end of the day, you got to be comfortable where you are. And if you're not, then leave. Like, for real, leave. I tell people all the time, there's so many communities in the world. You have to select the one that's for you. Even if the WIN community is not that community that makes you feel comfortable at the time. I have people where I was like, oh, I saw you dip in and out of our community the last few years. Like, what's been going on? They're like, and I'm like, no, that's a good thing, because you're figuring out where you need to fit in. You're figuring out, is this for me? Is it not? And so that's okay. And before we leave, we're actually going to shout out our favorite communities as well. So I want to kind of bring home this idea that, you don't have to be one-sided. You have to find just what you need so that you can, grow in life. And that's what community is about. But Ari, before you leave, any shout outs, anything you want to say?
I will say, this is an amazing conversation. This was good. And thank you, Mr. Anish. She gave me some things. I got to go watermark some of my ebooks because I be pumping them out and haven't put no watermarks on them, and put my copyright statement in it. I was like, oh, I didn't put it in my last ebook. So I need to put it in there. But it's just an amazing conversation. And what I will say is this, to anybody who's listening, don't be afraid of having to go through the process of betrayal, right? I think for me, and in my experience, what happens is you hold on because somewhere, some way, it's not going to go right. And that's just a part of the process. Like, that is a given. And I think sometimes we get afraid of the givens. The given is you're probably going to hire somebody or connect with somebody or ask for help and they're not going to show up. Or they're not going to be on the up and up, they're going to be a little shady. And my philosophy is this: if Jesus had to deal with a Judas, Ariana, you're going to have to deal with one. So stop being afraid, because, like Linda said, you can get in this box of like being afraid to do nothing because you don't want to experience the learning piece of connection. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however your mindset is around it, it's necessary. And so I was listening to everybody and I was telling myself, like, girl, you're just gonna have to go ahead and meet your Judas and get it over with. It's gonna be okay. You will survive. It's not gonna kill your business. Not because what God has for me is for me, and where God is gonna take my business, He's gonna take it. There's nothing that anybody could do about it, but I can stop it. And that's what Lynn said, is I can stop the growth of my business. It doesn't have to be somebody else doing something shady or I made a bad investment. The only person who can get in the way is me. So I want to say that before I leave is, you're the only one that can stop the progression of your business, of your success. And that fear that you have is really what's keeping you where you're at. When just go ahead and make the bad connection, baby, learn the lesson. Let's continue to be millionaires and billionaires and God blessed businesses, because it's going to happen. And I'm clearly talking to myself at this point because y'all have really encouraged me to step even more outside of my box and just go through it, y'all. Go through the process. So that's what I would leave with. Thank y'all so much.
Go through the process. Sarah, I know we're going to dip out in a moment, but I commented on what you said, and we're going to move on to Arinthia because we do have to finalize this. Y'all, we do have this run, and of course, there are people out of town and conferences. But I will say this: thank y'all for being here. Share this live. Let people know that we'll be coming back every single month on the first Tuesday of the month at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to bring you this type of flavor, okay? And we do it in all of our WIN spaces on our live streams. But Sarah, anything before you dip out, and then I'll go ahead and let Arinthia share what she wanted to share, because she jumped in on here out of a text message. I was like, okay, well, she's got something to say today. But Sarah, anything else?
I would just say don't be afraid to ask for help. Whether it's not going to make you seem weak or like you don't know what you're doing. Sometimes you just need to find the right type of support. So don't let fear interfere, I would say, for a final thought.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And then Arinthia, you jumped in. I want to hear from you, Queen.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? You know, I was on the line with Tamisha, and then I got this notification that this was coming up. So I was like, okay, let me get myself together. Let me fix up the back office. Let me tell the team what they need to do, and then let me jump in. So by the time I got in here, Lennox was reading, her niece was reading. I was like, I'm in the backstage. I'm like, no, I've been sitting back here 5 minutes. How come I'm not on the stages? So I had to send Allegra a message to let me up on that stage because the gems you all are dropping. First off, inspirational. I have 14 plus years in business. This not to mention that I grew up to immigrant parents, and I grew up in a corner store. So I was packing shelves. I was doing all the things when I was a baby. Okay. So I know a lot about business and doing it I guess the old school way when my parents they did things they wanted to do. And for me now it's like doing Secretary of State, making sure everything is up and everything like that. And my parents like, oh, you so much smarter than how we were before, right? But because of the spirit that my parents had, they instilled that in me. I don't I don't feel fear to do something new or to have a new relationship or to enter into a new opportunity, right? And I heard a lot today about having fear when it comes to being in some of these situations in these instances. And I loved what Ari shared because the quicker you go through it, child, the quicker you can get to that success, right? But there's so much education and there's so much experience to gain in each experience that you go through. So I also wanted to add that removing the fear and replacing it with optimism, because a lot of us is thinking that we should have fear towards this and a lot of us should have optimism. And I feel like that spirit of optimism actually gives you more power to create insight on the situations that you're in when it comes to business. Because if you go into business with a fear thought in your mind, you're going to have things that are going to come up that are going to keep scaring you. Okay, I don't know what to do in this situation. I don't know what to do in that situation, right? And I feel like if you approach it with optimism instead of fear, baby, you can figure anything out. We are in like one of the greatest times in history. And even though AI is scary, it's also so powerful to help you push yourself along in business in ways you couldn't do 10 years ago. I showed my mom ChatGPT the other day and we started making a cookbook and she was astonished. Okay. She was like, oh, I should be Martha Stewart by now if I would have had this back in the day. And I'm thinking, you can be Martha Stewart right now, Mom. Just keep going. Every day you do a little bit, a little bit. But how her spirit was back in the day was like only what she knew she was going to take on. She would not venture out into anything she didn't know. And now having this spirit of optimism has changed her view on how she approaches business ventures for herself, approaching new opportunities, using new tools and stuff like that. So instead of it being a no, now it's like, oh yeah, let me see what this is about. I don't know where it's going to lead yet, but, and she'll say, the spirit has brought me to this place. So I just wanted to add that removing fear and replacing it with optimism can create so many more opportunities for flourishing in business. And I loved also what Sarah was talking about, where don't be afraid to ask for help. Because baby, you trying to do it all by yourself gonna end you up in the hospital, overwhelmed, overworked. That's burnout. Those things are real. Okay, and they will really send you to the hospital, ER. And I can speak from that from personal experience, because before I realized that delegation was a thing, I was spending 12 hours a day. This is besides being a mom and a wife, 12 hours a day trying to figure this all out by myself until I ended up in the hospital because I couldn't do it all by myself. So asking for help is so important and it's healthy. It's a form of self-care. Okay. Giving yourself permission to honor yourself in the form of asking for what you need. So that's all I wanted to share. I was in the back getting hot. I couldn't share all of that good stuff, but all of the shares in here today were so awesome. And I'm just glad I could be a part of this roundtable, y'all.
It's all good. Thank you for sticking around, Esarinthia, our ATL leader out here, and also our corporate partner, Miss Ernice. And those were great, great takeaway words, final words for the audience. Anything that you would like to leave us with, Miss Ernice? Some wise words of wisdom.
Well, my words of wisdom is this: if you don't get in the game, you won't win.
Listen, my mentor said it. Thank you so much, Queens. I appreciate your time. Everyone who joined us today, thank you all for listening. We'll come back next month for another Win Roundtable. We'll talk some more about these concepts. Please let us know, how you enjoy this conversation and any questions you have as far as topics that you want to bring up that really impact you, your business, your life. As you see, we have some powerful women that clearly place themselves in position to support you. So don't ever be afraid to ask for help, but take these tips away. And make sure y'all stay safe. Have an amazing day, y'all.